You know, it's been a little while since we've done one of these. Hey everybody, how about we do an author diary? I've had a lot going on. That's part of the reason I haven't gotten to this. And that includes a lot going on with the book. So let's talk about one of the phases that I was in for a while and I have now, I consider myself to have completed. And that is beta reading. What is beta reading? What can you expect out of it? How did I go about it? I'll just tell you my experience. This is the first time I've had something where I would say it was properly beta read. Beta reading, I mean, if you know something like video games, something like beta testing is to have players come in and play something that you think is mostly ready but isn't quite finished so that they can catch, things and make sure everything flows and works the way it's intended and maybe have some suggestions for how to improve it. Beta reading is basically the same thing. Now, I have had things that I've written and published be read before, but it was by a very small number of people. So like my book, Skirting Gender, I think was read by like 2 people, other than the editor, before it went live. The play that I wrote, that was read by, again, about 2 people, maybe 3, before that went live. This, and in those cases, those were all people who knew me personally. What you want to really do for a beta reading process is it needs to be people who don't know you that well, because it really needs to be people who don't already know how you think, because they need to be able to approach this work as cleanly as possible. You want them to have the reading experience that actual people who buy your finished book are going to have. And they're not going to know you. They're only going to know what's on the page. So I put out a call actually on my Discord for the Council of Geeks, which, yes, there is one. It is a Patreon exclusive perk. So if you are interested in joining the Discord, link to the Patreon's in the description. Get the plug in there, nice and firm. But, gonna get demonetized for that. Anyways, I put the call out and a number of people said they'd be up for it. I sent out digital copies of the book as it existed at that time. Some of them didn't get back to me. Some of them got back to me, having only read part of it. And that, from what I can tell, that is not uncommon. That's pretty common in the beta reading process. Unless you're paying your beta readers, and I've seen vastly different opinions on whether or not you should be paying people to beta read your book. The general consensus I've seen seems to be no, but there were some very loud dissenting opinions on that, so I didn't pay beta readers, but because of that, it meant that I had no business going, hey, when are you going to get back to me? Because people were volunteering their time for their opinions. And some of them didn't get back to me, and that's fine. I got back probably around 8 full feedbacks from people who'd read the whole thing. And they varied wildly. In terms of what they came back to me with. Now, not necessarily in terms of their opinions, although there were some divergences. And that's the first big thing. That's a big part of what beta reading is. And it's why you need, A, people who don't just know you, and B, a better sample size than like 3 or 4. Because you need to get a spread from a wider group to see if people with different expectations, different life experiences, different reading preferences, whether or not they are taking away from your work what you want them to take. And some of them won't, but you can't get a good sample judgment off of because if 2 people read your book and they both go, that's great, well, fantastic, but that's a hideous sample size. Unless you get more people reading it, you don't know, are those 2 actually the majority opinion? Are they outliers? You don't know. So as many people as you can get, honestly. I would have ideally liked to have had some more beta readers than I have, but I got enough feedback back to me with enough notes that it really helped. And that's another thing. You want to give your beta readers guidelines for what kind of feedback you want to receive. Because if you don't give them guidelines, they're going to give you whatever feedback occurs to them. And I don't mean like you're going to get pages and pages and pages and pages, but like in my case, I had no interest in grammar or typo feedback because that was something that was going to get addressed in the edit. Actually working with editors, proper editors. And I didn't want that feedback because any of those things were going to be dealt with later. What I wanted were things about your thoughts on the characters, the structure, the flow of the story, the shifts from chapter to chapter. Do they work? Are any of them jarring? I wanted broader feedback, and I was sure to let everyone know that was what I was after. And for the most part, that is what I got back. You'll still get people who are much more detailed than others. Some will come at you basically, saying, okay, I like this overall. Here's my favorite character. Here's how I felt about this thing. And if you're lucky, how they felt was how you wanted them to feel. And if it isn't, you might go, Some will offer suggestions for alternatives, things they think would work better. Some won't. That's going to be just whether or not they have that thought. I think for the most part. And some beta, I would honestly say if you're lucky, because I found this very helpful. If you can find a beta reader who's willing to be detailed and like even go chapter by chapter, that is really helpful, especially if they seem to get what it is you're going for. Now, my saying that was really helpful doesn't diminish the value of any of the other beta reads that I had. They were all helpful, every single one of them. Because again, if I only got that one really detailed bit of beta feedback and assumed, well, that's how everyone feels about this, then I would have implemented changes based off only one person's feedback. And I don't know if that person's an outlier. And the truth is, some of the things that came back in the feedback from that beta reader were very helpful. I was like, oh, okay. Now, not necessarily I'll just immediately change this to that, but like, okay, so that wasn't the impact I wanted. Let me re-examine this. Because sometimes, even if they have suggestions, you're like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. If they're saying something's not working, go back and re-examine it. Figure out why they're not taking away what you want them to. But anyways, like some of the things that this reader was hitting upon, I'm like, I don't like what you took away is not at all what I was going for. And then going through some of the other beta reading feedback and thinking, I think most other people got it. I'll still go take another look at it though. And that's the other thing. Beta reading is not people are going to read it and check it off. It's great. Okay, cool. You move to the next phase. No. You better be revising off your beta feedback. And if you can't, because you either don't have enough of it or there weren't enough notes on what did or didn't work that you feel there's worth a revision, then you're not done the beta reading process. Because no matter how good this work that you're doing is ultimately going to end up being, at the beta reading stage, which should be, it absolutely is a completely finished draft. It should not be a first draft. It should be, I would say, 2 or 3 drafts in. But at that point, you do not have a perfect finished work. I don't care who you are. So you do need to go through this. And if you are not getting feedback that you can build off of, that you can make any adjustments based off of, if you didn't get any feedback that made you think, find another batch of beta readers. Because your work is not perfect. And you need to find out where the faults are. And if the people you found didn't find them, find some others. So that's my thought on beta reading, what it was like for me on the work Dreams of Fire. And my fairly unstructured thoughts on that. I'll try and get these out more regularly. I'm trying to pick up the pace. I'm working through an edit right now. I'd gone back and forth on whether I was going to launch a Kickstarter to help get this book self-published. I was thinking for a while I might not have to, but then I got laid off. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to now. Hopefully in a couple of months on that. But keep an eye out, and we'll see. What are your thoughts on anything that I've said? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Usual stuff, like, subscribe, share. I have a Patreon and all that stuff. Link in the description, but no pressure. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break.